So, hmm, so since we were just starting today, like the meeting today, do you guys like voluntarily start sharing your ideas and points on the book, or like the questions or anything? What do you think? So,
I think we'll introduce ourselves and where we're from.
yeah, sure.
First time, will you mind? I'm from Fiji.
My name is Megan and I'm from Mongolia.
I'm Jonathan from Indonesia.
Okay.
I'm Ethan. I'm from Washington.
I know.
Yona.
You're muted.
Sorry. My name is Yona. I'm from Kiribati.
Mori, Mori.
No,
And I'm Professor Schaefer from Canada, but I don't have to introduce myself, I guess.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the participation. Okay. So, like, let's see. Does anyone want to share like what's happening in the book generally? Like why they're mice and why they're cheeses in the first place? Like just your idea and the picture.
So just like you're asking me who can give a summary.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I mean, just from like reading it a couple days ago, or I don't know how long ago that was, but when I read it, it was really interesting. I thought with the two mice and then two small people that were not mice, but that was kind of confusing there. But basically, they're in this maze and they are all trying to find cheese. And the mice aren't really picky. They have like a specific kind that they like. I think it was like hard nibbling cheese. And then the two people, Hem and Haw, the two people in the mice were Sniff and Scurry, I think. And Hem and Haw, they liked a special kind of cheese with a capital C. I honestly was a little confused about what that exactly meant, but I think it just meant that they were like really picky or something. Or it probably has a meaning behind it, but I didn't really catch that. But yeah, they're in this maze and they're just looking for, cheese, and that's supposed to be what gives them happiness. So every day they go out in the maze, like looking around, putting on like their like tennis shoes and stuff like that, and then they find I forgot what they called it. Like they had different like letters to describe the different like was it like vaults or rooms or something like that that had like cheese. And they found one that was like full of it, and then Sniff and Scurry, they did not really they didn't really relax. Like they were always like still like thinking and making like and checking to see like if like the cheese was like going away over time. And I thought one thing that stuck out is they always had their tennis shoes tied up and around their neck so that like they would always have it ready if they needed them. And the Hem and Haw, they didn't do that. They put their tennis shoes away. They changed into like comfy clothes or whatever, and they just kind of relaxed and didn't really worry about going out or in case something might happen. They don't ever really think about that. And so eventually the cheese runs out, and the two mice they take off like pretty quickly to look for more cheese, and Hem and Haw they just kind of mope around for a while and just like how could this happen to us? Like who could do this? This was ours. Like we found it fair and square, and they just complained and complained. And I think it was I forget which one. I think it was Haw is the one that decides to try to go out looking for it. while Hem stays, and that's like you're wasting your time or whatever. And Hawk kind of develops a new like outlook, and starts to like realize that you can find, you know, like you can find new cheese, and you don't have to worry about the old cheese. And throughout his whole journey, he goes and he writes a bunch of like really cool quotes all over the different parts of the maze. And eventually he does find new cheese. And yeah, that's probably not the best one. But...
All right. And thanks for that. It was the connection was still on and off, but I think you got the idea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as you were talking, like there's cheese C, it's like very special cheese, and I think since we all read, we kind of went along with this and then how the story goes. And what do you guys think about like cheese C like, represents specifically in your opinion or like in your idea? Any thoughts from Yana? Sorry, how do you say your name?
Joanna.
Yana.
Oh yeah, what is your question?
What do you think cheese C represents? The one they're chasing after.
I think cheese represents successful or like that, because if they find a cheese that's make him, but because of that guy, or I'm not sure because I haven't read the whole story, but I think that guy that when he find the cheese, I think that's because of he's afraid of I mean the second guy he afraid of finding the cheese, but because of the other guy he has the courage or something like that. If he finally found the cheese, and that make him change, like I mean to adapt and like he's not gonna fear anything, like he can overcome his fear. I'm not really sure, but I think that's the something that I read it from the internet. And I think that's the author write it for us so we can overcome like any difficulties, challenges that we face in this life. Like if we change, yeah, to adapt everything that like bigger stuff that we think that we cannot do it, I think we can overcome it.
Okay, thanks for the thought, girl. How about Professor Norman share some idea of his seeing the cheese? Like, what would be in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think, this whole book is about change, and are we resistant to change or are we embracing change? Like, is change a bad thing or is it a good thing? I'd throw that question out to you.
It's a good thing, very good, but it's very hard to do.
Yeah. And sometimes, as we know, I mean, in the gospel of Jesus Christ, a lot of times we hear about how change forces us to do things maybe we wouldn't normally do, but it's also where we learn and grow.
Yeah, I think something that kind of stood out to me from the whole story is about it's about change and also about fear and how fear hinders us from our progression if we allow it to consume us. Just how Ham, he decided to stay back because he feared what was out there. He feared a lot of things, and he feared, what was going to happen to their lives. And sometimes but like Haw, he was, it took him a while to be able to realize that, like, he did agree with him at some point, but then he thought about it and he was like, if they stay still, then they wouldn't be able to progress, or they wouldn't be able to find new cheese. So in order for them to find new cheese, he decided to go out by himself and do it. And as he went along the way, he was able to learn a lot of lessons, and he wrote it down on the wall, hoping that Ham would follow him. And that's a very, like, it was a very important lesson, because when opportunities does arise, we get comfortable with how we are, like where we are at the moment, that we decide not to grab those opportunities. But as we go on and we take it, we are able to open doors to many opportunities that come our way. And so it's all a matter of overcoming our fear and telling ourselves that, yeah, we can really do this. And as we put our mind to it, we're able to accomplish like whatever goal we've set for ourselves.
Can I ask
Yeah,
a question?
sure.
What's the significance of actually writing something down on the wall, or having written those things on the wall? Why is that significant, or why do you think he did that?
Right. To remember and to remind the friend.
Yeah, I think also myself, when I write things down that are significant to me, it's something I remember, and it's not harder to come back to my mind. And so yeah, I think also when we have goals or dreams, if we write those goals and dreams down, it makes that much more of a difference, and it makes it that much easier to accomplish or achieve that as well.
Can I ask a question from Brother Norman? What was the hardest change you had to do in your life? Maybe to Daniel.
I think we should be asking everybody else here this question.
Yes, starting from you.
Yeah, you know what? I've had a lot of hard things, but in business, for example, I've had so many opportunities to change. I had a online digital website selling travel, and learning how to remarket and rebrand and actually rebuild my company from the ground up while it was operating was probably one of the hardest business things I had to do in my career. And that was because things were changing so fast and so quickly that the business wasn't coming in the same way it used to prior to. I used to do a lot of Google ads, and Google ad costs were jumping up. And so the margins were not there anymore. So I had to rework it. So, I mean, that's just one example. But if I just depended on business coming in the way it always had, eventually I would have just had to shut the doors. And then we look at COVID in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, and I think adding all you guys said, and one important thing was to me that change always doesn't come out of nowhere. There is science before we are notified this is gonna change or this need to be changed. And sometimes me just ignore it, and there's lots of, I would say, costs afterwards. So I think that's one of the takeaways from the book for me.
Can I say something?
I'm going to pop out and let you guys finish up
Okay.
but I'll watch the recording. Thanks a lot for inviting.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Go on.
Thank you.
Wait, can I say something? So the things that pop up for me from the story is about how we face the changes or challenges. Because it's a mind, yeah, I think 2 mice and 2 little people, right? That's the story about. So they treat challenges or these changes differently. So the animal or the mice, they don't really put too much thought, so they just go with the flow, while these little people, they put too much effort and thoughts, and they find struggle in the middle because they got stuck what to do. So this is funny because we need to learn from animal instead of human in this story. And yeah, like Professor said, that we need to know how we deal with these changes or challenges, because if we have business and COVID exists like this, So we need to find out how we gonna survive our business to still alive. Because during these online classes, I saw a lot of professors. Yeah, I know they're old, so they're struggling with technology. But if they give up, then they have nothing else to do. So I think sometimes we need to force ourselves to accept any changes in our life and adopt it. And in the end, we'll find enjoy. That's
Yeah,
really-
I agree. It all comes down to having like, I mean, the kind of attitude you have. Because
Mhm.
if you have a positive attitude, then you'll be able to, you know, do what you'll be able to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But if you
True.
have, if you don't have a positive attitude, then
Yeah.
yeah, you're just stuck.
Just done.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's hard, but no choice. But that's what life is, right?
Any other opinions or ideas or questions?
I have a question about, because I'm writing notes, so what do I have to do?
Oh,
So you
Just
should.
like writing
summary?
on points, yeah, from whatever we talked about.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, just like the key points, I think.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So what is my role exactly? Because I didn't want to ask that right when we started the recording because the professor was right there and I was really embarrassed because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. So what was my role again?
Is that
Oh.
PowerPoint organizer?
Sorry, I thought you were gonna be the moderator.
Yeah.
I was
No. So for Eddie, yeah, I think you're kind of PowerPoint organizer.
Okay, I can, yeah, okay, so I'll set it up and then share it with you.
Yeah, and we
Sorry.
can all help you.
Okay, sorry about that. That was definitely not about the book, but okay, cool.
No worries.
We're all kind of a little bit of confused, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I do have something about the book though that I did want to say. One thing that I really liked about it was how it is so applicable to like current times. Just because I think all of us have been able to see businesses and how they have tried to um, adapt to the change that has occurred with COVID and everything getting shut down, and businesses have really had to learn about how to think outside of the box in order to survive. So one of the quotes that I wrote down from the book that I really liked was, if you do not change, you can become extinct." And I think that just with what's going on with COVID and stuff, especially last year, it's gotten a lot better this year. But last year, especially, you've literally seen businesses that, some of them have just been like, oh, this should pass through really quickly. And I've tried to just wait it out. And I think the businesses that have waited it out or just tried to are the ones that have been either, going out of business or have still not been able to open back up and have suffered because of that. And so it's been really interesting to see that the companies that have right away accepted, oh, this is a change that we need to figure it out and stuff. And so an example that I talked about was how restaurants who have dine-in closed and they're not allowed to have dine-in, they'll literally set up tents outside and then have that be not dine in, even though you're still eating there, but it's outside, so it's okay. So I just thought it was really cool, reading this book. I really drew so many parallels to just modern everything going on with COVID.
Mhm. True.
Thanks for that. And any more ideas you want to share from the book?
Sorry, we're gonna end our discussion at 7:45. That'll be that's enough time for us.
Yeah,
What-
sure. But like we started like 7:10, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Some- So is it like 30 minutes of recording already?
24 minutes.
So we're on
Not yet.
44 at 24 minutes.
We're at 24 minutes right now, and I think we need at least, he said 30 to 60.
Yeah, so
6 minutes left.
keep talking like 7 minutes. How about that?
We got this.
I kind of just like how is it Scam and Scurry? How they were so prepared, like they knew, they already saw that the cheese was like, you know, it was finishing, and they already had a plan in their mind. And it made me realize that there's two different types of people. There are those that wait for it to go all out and then they try to plan, but then there's others that like look at it, they know that it's coming to an end and they need a new plan and they create one and they go towards it. And so I was trying to like put myself in those two categories, and I was like, I'm definitely the person that waits for it to finish, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now what? But yeah, reading the book, it definitely like opened, yeah, it taught me a lot of lessons. Like, don't really have to wait for changes to happen. Like if there are signs that are coming up, just like Ethan and also Professor Nomad shared, if there's signs that we see, then that's like the time to start planning ahead and start preparing ourselves, because we never know what's going to happen. And I'm just gonna, you'll never know what's gonna happen. So it's better to like pay attention to what's happening around us, and also being mindful of the like what's going to happen and accepting it, and also planning from there.
Yeah, and then some of the points I was thinking is like, because like the people, one of the person is like saying we're smarter and we don't have to learn from the mice and things like that. And I think that's like a great one of the weaknesses we got, because we think we are like ready or all that. And I think it like somehow relates some of the gospel principles, like being humble so that we can be like more aware of the changes and we can adapt the changes easily. And I was taking notes like change is not always a trap or punishment, and it's either rather it's a way to grow. So I think like in the opposite of fear is of course the faith. So we like how we learn at church, we gotta be acting in faith towards changes. So there is not gonna be like that much tension or fear regarding with the change, and seeing it in a way that it's gonna be like blessing or success after that. So I think it's a lot about the perception we got towards any kind of changes. And I think like the whole metaphor of the book was really deep, and I would say it was really helpful for me.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
you guys think that this story reminds us of Lehi's family? That to people that complains and to people grateful for what's happening.
Mhm.
And yeah, just like in the Book of Mormon, they also struggle in the wilderness, and that's their maze. And yeah, luckily they have Lehi who always inspired them to do better. So Nephi and Sam, they represent the mice, and Lemon and Lemon represent the little men. And yeah, instead of because they need to sell their goats and stuff, so they yeah, instead of murmuring or complaining like Lemon and Lemuel, but they just follow what they have to do, and in the end they arrive in the promised land, which is the what's it called, the happy state of life, probably. Like,
Mhm.
after we adopt the changes in our life. Yeah.
One thing that I also thought was really cool was how at the very beginning of the book, it was before the actual like book part, it was like a preface or something, I think is what it's called. But they're saying, the author was saying that we all have the 4 different character traits, like Hancock, Snip, and Scurry. So like, I think it also depends on the situation that we're in. Like some changes will be a lot easier to adapt to than others. And so in some cases, we might be like sniffer scrape, where it's just like, oh, okay, then you can switch quickly. But because like I think that the book made us think like, oh, which one am I? But I think that all of us are a combination of all of them in some way. There's definitely some of us that are definitely more hem and haw or more stiff and scary. But I think what's really cool is trying to like figure out like which ones we are as opposed to which singular one we are. Because you know, I mean, at least like in my past experiences, there's some changes that I have definitely like been very, very reluctant to try to like adapt to. And there's others where I was like, oh, thank goodness, like, let's do this, you know, like very excited to. So I just thought that was also really interesting too. Just like before we even started the book, it said like the mice represent this and the little people represent this. And everyone has a little bit of both. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I can relate that with myself because like depending on the problems or the situations, I become different characters in the book. So I think we should like find out where we're lacking, becoming like acting like a little people, and where we should be more like the mice. Yeah. And any other comments? If you have questions too, I think we're all the 30 minutes just in case. Okay, so do you guys want to end the meeting?
Do you guys have a copy?
What?
Copy of the book?
Oh, I think can online.
Yeah, the home section of the class.
Yeah, I find mine from the internet too. Was
Yeah, same. I just looked it up on the internet. So
Okay.
yeah, if you can find me, we can send you the link.
Yeah.
has it been 30 minutes already? Sorry, I cannot.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'll crop out this part. Not send it to you. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Stop
we're doing
recording now.